Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and two-thirds of the gentlemen are here. Hello, Cameron. How are you?
Hello, Sybil. It's hot this summer, and I'm already experiencing inexperienced teens with summer jobs.
Oh,
Excellent.
welcome to our world.
Yeah, here we
And
go.
Med, how you doing?
I am doing all right, Sybil Wilkes. Welcome to the world of water main breaks and slip and slide streets.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
real,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, Atlanta, the world where people say, hey, water main break, let's get an inner tube.
We'll
Wee!
make our own fun.
Yeah, man, that's Atlanta for you. I was like, really? Down Peachtree. Cool.
Okay. Did you take pictures?
No, I stayed away from that area. I was just like, I knew where it was. It wasn't too far from where I was working. I said, nah, we're not going to do that today. Not today.
So my friend Sherry Shepard is doing a film in that area, and she and her girlfriend are going to come to Atlanta this weekend. And she was asking people, what to do, where to go, where a place to go for mani pedis, maybe a massage, some R&B music, that kind of thing. And the first response was, "Bring your own water," which
Yep.
is, I mean, it's pretty sound advice. And no matter where you're staying, if you're going to be in the downtown or the midtown area, right?
It's a tough go right now. I still trying to figure out what I'm doing tomorrow. So it's
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
it's a very tough go.
So we'll talk about that because and the reason why I did this story for the newsletter is because this isn't just Atlanta where it's happening, and if it hasn't happened in your town lately, it's going to. The pressure of the old pipes not being able to keep up with the expansion that's going on in every town, and especially the towns in the South where they're discovering a slower pace of life, perhaps a little less expensive, and people are coming in, and builders are coming in, and everything is just growing, and the
Dallas,
price,
Houston,
yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah,
Them the three.
Jackson,
yeah,
Jackson,
yeah.
Mississippi.
Jackson,
Um,
yeah, but the three metropolitan areas that have grown,
yeah,
it's
right,
Dallas,
Oh,
Houston,
yes.
and Atlanta.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so it is, and then you've got places that are they're not necessarily where people are moving to, but they are great vacation spots, such as New Orleans, which is a real attraction. No matter when you go, whether it's Mardi Gras or Essence, there's going to be a lot of people there and putting a lot of pressure on their infrastructure there. And stuff is old in New Orleans. It's just the way that it is. That's a part of the charm of the city. So we will talk about that as we get into it. And Cameron, you are joining a select group of, middle-aged people who are feeling the effects of working with young people, you say?
Yes. Today I visited a nameless black-owned barista, and I ordered a matcha. Out came a mocha, and I asked the gentleman. I said I thought matcha was green, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and it reached an inflection point that lasted about a millisecond, but I felt it lasted for an eternity, where he considered telling me, "I'm going to tell you that you ordered a mocha," of which I thought, you could either get me my drink and kick me out of here, or you can try me.
Did you go to the
Your
manager?
move. The manager was right there. So we locked eyes, and he was like, "I'm going to remake your drink, sir." And I was like, "Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are." So I got my drink, tipped him well, and left.
Okay, tipped him well. Okay, I guess that's a good thing.
Gotta
And
bribe the youth these days.
no, no, no,
Someone don't believe in that.
no,
Do your job.
no.
Do your job.
Make him do his job is right. No, you don't tip him for being insolent and giving you the wrong order. No, we don't reward that. No.
Yeah.
I consider it a
Yeah.
peace offering.
Right. I ordered a lap dance. What was that? You don't tip that. You know what I'm saying?
And you don't
I was on the west side. I had to get out of there safely.
really? Okay.
Cameron to the west. Oh, the Southsiders.
You just just made Southsiders look like a piece of you know what, and we are
I had
whips
to
for
get out.
that. Come on, man. You go every day to the West Side. Every day you're on the West Side of Chicago. This is not a journey into the unknown.
It is a
Jesus
2.5 hour journey.
I give up. See, this is the problem I have with you young people.
Oh boy.
Let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter.
Oh, you got it fired up. That's good.
Oh yeah, here we go.
You don't want this. You don't want none of this fire. Let's go to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter in which we seek to super serve the African American people. And Khameron is our political contributor. We also have other young people who are probably just as insolent. I'm just kidding. Coy Malone, who is our social justice contributor. Khameron's younger sister, that is Quinn Townsend Riley. She's our LGBTQIA plus contributor. And Aprilette Riley, who is our mental health and wellness contributor. Those young ladies are here with us on Monday.
Aprilette Russell. She's not Aprilette Riley yet.
All right then. Okay. Well, let you handle grown folks' business. Khameron has an update on a story that we've been following, some from afar, some from close up. Khameron, tell us, who is Tiffany Henyard and why are so many eyes on her?
Yeah, citizens of Dalton represent, and thank you for just schooling us in a masterclass of civic engagement, disrupting the super mayor's town hall meetings, one meeting at a time. The residents of Dalton have been showing up and showing out outside.
This is Dalton, Illinois.
Dalton, Illinois, yes. 80% Black. I believe Mayor Tiffany Henyard is both the mayor of Dalton and the Thornton Township supervisor. Over the past couple of years.
She got two jobs.
Yes. Over the past couple of years of her reign, there have been many a controversy. WGN investigates, reveals that she has sunk Dalton into a $2 million deficit from a $4 million surplus. Luckily, though, there has been some great progress. The FBI is officially investigating Mayor Tiffany Henyard, and then also Lori Lightfoot has been hired to do an independent investigation, which Mayor Tiffany Henyard vetoed. I have no idea why executive officials have the power to veto who is investigating them, but it's okay. This is a masterclass in civic engagement. We are discovering that executive offices have a lot of random powers that they should not have. Adding to Henyard's troubles, her top aide, Keith Friedman, has been charged with bankruptcy fraud. And one of her trustees, Andrew Holmes, faces sexual assault allegations on a Dalton citizen funded trip to Las Vegas. So Tiffany Henyard is definitely feeling the heat right now, so much so that she has just been absent, all out absent from town hall meetings where residents continue to challenge her on to produce the receipts, show us the spreadsheets. Tiffany Henyard, probably while she's away from meetings, she's probably trying to delete emails and liquidate assets. As we speak. WGN has actually sued Mayor Tiffany Henyard for failing to comply with Freedom of Information Acts to produce spending records.
All you want.
Yeah, so we'll probably get a Netflix special about the rise and fall of this.
I hope so.
Very soon, and I'm also praying that the FBI concludes their investigation this summer, post haste.
Man,
all right.
Did you see the meeting last night?
I was watching the Dr. Fauci hearing last night, so I did not happen to tune into this one.
There's some new stuff.
Yeah, so last night they had a meeting, and Dalton trustees overrode the mayor by a vote of 4-2, and that solidified the vote to hire Lori Lightfoot as the special investigator to investigate Henyard's spending habits. The meeting progressed with Henyard talking about all the great things that she's done for the people, all of her accomplishments as mayor, stating her frustration with the residents and the media for what she called a smear campaign against her. She said that the trustees' decision to hire Lightfoot as the special investigator at $400 an hour was unconstitutional infringement of the mayor's office. And that didn't deter 4 of the 6 trustees to vote in favor of hiring the former Chicago mayor and assistant U.S. attorney to have access to all of the information. And so the excessive and unauthorized use of village funds by Henyard, they say, is more than $5 million.
Yep.
Whoa.
And the trustee asked the board to allow Lightfoot to make remarks after the vote. Henyard denied the mayor the opportunity to speak, even had people pull her mic. And so it really looked very petty. And
To say the least, yes.
it was embarrassing to see this and
Yes.
to see a black woman who was the head of a city and feeling so threatened, and she wasn't doing some wrong stuff, then why not let Lori Lightfoot come in. But she moved for a quick adjournment of the meeting, which angered a lot of the people. They started chanting. Let her speak was probably one of the nicest things that they said. And the police tried to shuffle the people out. Mayor Lightfoot did manage to speak to the people for a short period of time before the microphone was shut off by the village staff. And she stressed that she would not allow the administration to stop us from getting to the facts. And so it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. As I like to say in some of my stories, this party ain't over. And it's really a party headed for the doom, I believe, of Mayor Tiffany Henyard
Absolutely.
and the township supervisor there. It's She has become a Facebook favorite, and unfortunately, that may be where her next career is if any of this goes through, and if former Mayor Lightfoot finds out any of the things that she believes that she will.
Like I'm looking at the comments, and yes, it's a person of color, like Sybil said, a black woman, and of Michael Starworth is referring to Dalton, Illinois, and this is something that has tickled me ever since Khameron brought this up months ago, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like when Khameron first brought this up in the newsletter, Sybil, I've been following this thing, just like this is really happening. This woman has really treated Dalton, Illinois, like a game of Sim City. Now, if y'all remember Sim City, I remember destroying cities within minutes because I was playing with the tax slider too high and too low. People were, I was like, God, this is a bustling city, and it just went down in the dumps because I couldn't figure things out. That's what she's doing. It's like she's playing just with stuff and tinkering and destroying a city. Like the crazy thing about this is that after this is all settled and done, and she might even go to jail, the city still got to recover from this.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like 80% black.
And their
100%
tax base
food.
is so low that, trying to get them back to where they were, no telling how long it took them to get to that point. But now everything is so low. It's going to take everything that they've got to recoup this money.
It is absolutely insane. Like we talk about Trump all the time, and of course, this is a small city in Illinois. But to see the level that a politician can destroy and damage a city is incredible. Like Khameron was saying earlier, I've learned more about city and national politics and things that you can and can't do from bad politicians. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing how they handle the situation, seeing what she's been able to stall and get away with. I'm like, man, these rules are something else. Like she's been stalling this thing for months, and because she has the power to do so, she's had the power to do a lot of things to just run through the city. And it's all, I'm saying it's not all legal, but she's been able to finagle the system to be able to do these things. It's fascinating to see this thing play out.
Some of the ridiculous things that she was doing to try and recover the budget deficit. She was charging residents like $500 parking tickets for like parking in between the lines in certain parking lots.
Crazy.
She wouldn't let her staffers into their offices. She was shutting off the power to police stations. She was hiring police as her like a security detail, and some of the cops were reported collecting $30,000-$40,000 a month, working 24-hour shifts, you're not working a 24-hour shift, big dog. Someone's got to sleep. Not to mention all of like the personal trips and vacations that she has taken, and just the overall, just like being at war with the media. I mean, clearly she's just taking a very firm play out of like the classic Donald Trump handbook, which was invented by Mayor Daley, which was invented.
I was going to say it's not an original handbook from Donald Trump. It's following in the wake of a lot of Chicago politicians who thought that they could get away with it. But the thing that she is neglecting to respect is the power of the media in the city of Chicago, and they will begin an investigation in a heartbeat. The first whiff of anything, they will be on her, and Mayor Lightfoot could tell her that, will be on her like white on rice. And so she's going to feel the wrath of all the things she's done to tick off a lot of people in the city, and not the least of which is WGN TV and radio. It is going to be more than a notion once they get through, and once Mayor Lightfoot gets through with this investigation.
That's the key to the city, honestly, when it comes to politics, is the media. Yeah. If you as a politician can get on their good side, if you have enough friends in the media, you can last a very long time. You piss them off, it's a wrap.
Or you scare them enough, like the original Mayor Daley did, that they don't kick up any dust until it's too late. And when you start to show the chinks in the armor or the holes in the mortar, then they start to go in and they find your sensitive spots. But this is going to be very interesting. Before we lose time on this, Khameron, will you give people a peek at your story in the Wednesday newsletter as well?
Yes.
Which is good news about a Black woman.
Yes. There is a statue being erected in Sojourner Truth's honor in Akron, Ohio. The Sojourner Truth Freedom Plaza, erected where she gave her famous "Ain't I a Woman" speech. I was going to call the newsletter or the article title "Ain't I a Statue," but I decided against it.
I was thinking, yes, I am, but you know.
Ain't I a statue? No. Well, you are. Yeah, I guess.
But Sojourner Truth, absolutely fearless in her speaking out and advocating for Black people's rights in public, in the faces of white America, directly, especially in a time now where just the voices of women have all but been censored and all but been muted. This is a great monument to a very phenomenal woman.
And not only a monument, but it's a whole plaza, so that that means that the possibility of people gathering there and organizations perhaps dedicated to the betterment of Black and brown people and women especially could be held within the space with the statue of Sojourner Truth.
Oh yeah, now speaking of statues, the Jackie Robinson statue has been restored in Kentucky as well. So that case is duly closed.
Did they put Ring cameras around it?
I hope so. Yeah. I certainly hope so. But the gentleman that butchered it has been sentenced, and the statue, which received the amount of funding that it needed and then some, has been restored to its newfound glory.
That's good news. Very good news indeed. Okay. All right. So, Med, let us move to the question of the day. What's going on? And today marks day 5 of the ongoing Atlanta water crisis after multiple water main breaks occurred over the weekend, starting at about 8 o'clock Friday morning. News outlets reporting that water should be restored to the city by Wednesday morning. And what happened was a major transmission line that broke Friday morning at the intersection. I don't know where this is, but it's not Peachtree, so I'm assuming people will know. The intersection of Joseph E. Boone Boulevard and J.P. Brawley Drive, knocking out water to thousands of customers. And as crews raced to repair that line, a second line broke Saturday night on West Peachtree and 11th Street. And crews are still working to repressurize the line in Midtown Atlanta, and water is cut off to help with those repairs yesterday. The Atlanta Watershed Department issued a boil water advisory which was partially lifted today and yesterday for some areas, but not for everyone. Ned, you are not affected in your living situation, but in your work life,
Yeah.
this did have an effect on you.
Yeah, because where I work in the heart of downtown Atlanta, like where the stadiums are and things of that nature. And when I tell you the effect of this thing was swift, and it, like, we were concerned working, for those that don't know, I work at Hot 107.9 and Radio 1 in Atlanta. And the fear was, we're going to go off the air. Why do you say? The power's still on? Yeah, the power's still on. But to keep the AC running, you need water. And so they had to cut the AC off to the building that we're in. And it's a big 30 floor building. And they needed to cut the AC and the water to the building. So over the weekend, our weekenders, and the group chat was going, 90 degrees in all the studios, 90 degrees in the studios. And we had people doing 4 to 6 hour shifts with no bathroom, bathroom and no air. And so people were bringing in portable fans and things of that nature. So
bring your buckets and bring your fans.
Basically, and I wanted to paint you that picture because that's just a radio station that we're dealing with. So think about all the businesses.
One business.
Think about all the businesses and think about all the homes that had to deal with this situation of no water. Yes, the boiling water notice, and it's still going on to this day. Today's Tuesday. Yesterday I came in not knowing what to expect, and it was like, okay, it's cool. It's cool in here. Everything seems to be fine because they, like you, I think in the newsletter, it was supposed to be all, we're all fine.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Monday we got an email 8 o'clock, cutting the water off. We're cutting the water off. We're cutting the AC off again. I'm like, okay. So today our show went remote, and I walked into the building expecting. But again, the water was on.
The show is remote, but the executive producer,
of course, we got to be in there. But somebody got to push the button.
Right.
And so, I got in there today. AC was on and the water was on. I'm like, oh, okay, we back. Around 7 o'clock, we're cutting off the AC and cutting off the water. It's like it just keeps like they're trying to fix this, and while they're trying to fix the situation with the water in the city, it keeps on giving us false hope, and then it's like, hold on.
Like it teases you a little bit and then take it back.
And it pulls us back. So, hopefully, like when you said Wednesday morning, I'm like, I hope. That's what I'm really hoping.
That's the official.
That's the official. But let me just tell you something. Luckily the building said we have one bathroom on the lower level that you guys can use for all 30 floors if you are in here. So I had to make that trip one time. Very nice bathroom. I was like, where's this business?
Okay.
It's a very nice bathroom down here. Why?
The executive.
Right, exactly. What is this? So that happened, but it is very interesting to see how a water main break can really put a city under, because not only that, you had a bunch of events this past weekend. Right. You had a bunch of events. You had to make the Stallion concert. They got delayed 2 days.
Delayed, and then finally it took place on Sunday.
Yeah. And they got both the shows in, but it's been something else to deal with down here.
Wow. And it's also in the area where there are a lot of hotels, right?
Yep.
And so people coming there for business, for pleasure, and you wake up Friday morning, you're going to start your weekend in Atlanta in the ATL, and you turn on and it's plop.
Water is off.
Plop.
Water is off.
Or you might get those little notes under your door saying, circumstances beyond our control. Sorry. But here's a case of water for your trouble.
It is absolutely, it's just crazy. And then, of course, when you go into, we were just talking about the mayor of Dalton, and then you have the mayor of Atlanta who was under fire because when this whole thing started on Friday in the morning, he wasn't in town. And so it took for him to leave wherever he was at to come back to the city to then give a report from the city because he couldn't do a press conference from somewhere else. So he had to be back in the city. So no one knew what the hell was going on until 8 p.m. And that was at 8 o'clock in the morning. So 12 hours had gone by before we got a report from the mayor of Atlanta and city officials. So, again, not his fault that he didn't know it was about to happen, but, he's been criticized heavily over the weekend, but I have to give him his props. He's been keeping the city updated with what's going on over the last few days. It's just no one likes what he's been saying because It sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
He
So
hasn't had any good news.
So the question, Yolanda is asking what the question is. The question is, have you experienced this yourself in your city, or have you had some problems with the infrastructure? One of the things that we recently talked about was the bridge that in which the barge ran into in Baltimore. And that is an infrastructure problem because that bridge apparently services a lot of people making their way in Baltimore, as an alternative to some of the other traffic routes. There are very difficult stories to tell, like I believe the last one was in Minneapolis or somewhere in the state of Minnesota, where a bridge collapsed as people were driving to work in the morning. The bridge
Oof.
collapsed. This is something that is going on in our cities around the country, as we said, and one presidential candidate is, concerned about the infrastructure. The other has other concerns, and so, but we have to be mindful because it's going to affect us. Our taxes are going to go up, and this is the way that and the mayor of Atlanta has to create this uh, special alert so that he can get crews working overtime and at such a fast pace. You don't want them working so fast that they're not
They're
being
making
careful
mistakes. Yep.
in their
Right.
duties.
Yes.
But it's also it's I'm not sure about the weather there, but here it's already 90 degrees. And we've had water
Yeah.
main breaks in Fort Worth, Texas, and it didn't have it did affect a small area, but not to the extent of what's going on in Atlanta. So have you experienced this? And what what are they saying can be done, Ned? Are they looking forward or are they just looking immediately in front of them to get this done and then just have a
Look here. They have to look forward because that World Cup is coming. And right across the street from where I work at, like I said, if you're looking outside, I was there when they demolished the old Georgia Dome
mm-hmm,
and they built this new Mercedes-Benz stadium.
mm-hmm.
I was able to watch that from our windows. They're building a entertainment center, that brand new entertainment center. They're trying to bring life back to the downtown area of Atlanta. Because right now, when it comes to Atlanta, if you're trying to visit Atlanta, you're usually going to be midtown and north of Atlanta. You're not going to really be in the city. You don't want to really be in the city. Not much to do. So they're really trying to build it up. So by the World Cup coming, they're thinking about right now making sure everybody's good, but they're also thinking what happens if this happens during that time. So
Right.
they have to think forward. They have to think ahead because Mayor Dickens is really putting a lot on his what's going to be on his shoulders is the development of Atlanta. A lot of
Right.
development is happening under his watch, under his time, under his stewardship of the city. So he has to think forward when it comes to the infrastructure of these pipes. He has to see where else could these problems lie. He needs to talk to his engineers. God damn, we have Georgia Tech here. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got a bunch of engineers here. We need to be figuring out how to make sure that this doesn't happen again, because if it does, it could be catastrophic for the city development wise in a couple years when the World Cup is here and the world is here in Atlanta.
And the world will come to Atlanta just like they did for the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of travel, the airport, Hartsfield
It was affected
Jackson
too.
was affected by that.
Yep.
AUC, the Atlanta University Center, that was affected. The hospitals were affected.
I want people to understand that who've maybe never been to Atlanta, what you're saying here. So I work downtown where we were affected, no water. The airport is about 15 to 20 miles south
Right.
of the downtown area. And we're talking about maybe another 15 miles north that was affected as well too. Let's say 5 to 10 miles north of where my job is at. So you're talking about maybe about a 30-mile radius area that was affected by this water main break. That's crazy.
The
And
maps
the
don't
airport
do
is
it
like,
justice.
mm-hmm.
The maps that you see don't do it justice for you to explain that kind of mileage and that kind of territory that's
Yeah.
affected. That's, and it pops up here and then it pops up there.
Yep.
And then the pressure will grow in another area and
Yep.
will be affected by this. Have you ever experienced this, Khameron?
Oh man. I've had our house basement flood quite a few times, and the whole north side of Chicago period has banned the use of public restrooms because the north side is so densely populated with so many businesses and so many restaurants and so much foot traffic. It could be a patron of some place in order to use the restroom because they're afraid of all that pressure going into the water pipes. Chicago does have one of the largest, I think second largest water processing or water treatment plant in the entire nation.
But also probably the second oldest pipes in the nation as well.
Yes, it was a legislation out of the 40s that like 80% of the pipes had to be made with lead. What a stupid idea. And so we're also seeing the city giving out like free like lead test kits and filters, which is fine, whatever. I think we just want them to replace the pipes. But what engineers are discovering now is, as Med was saying, how just how complex of a job this really is. You pretty much have to decide what part of the city you want to cut off.
Right, you have to shut down in order to.
And how expensive it is to do this. So even if there is no water main break, to go in and try to upgrade, if you will, the system, that's going to cost a lot of money. And that's for across. This has got to be a federal thing. It has to be a federal thing where the cities are getting money from the federal government, which I think Biden has kind of put out there, giving each city money for infrastructure. That's why between, like, I know we see the bridges. We don't. The problem is we don't see the pipes.
You don't see the pipes.
You don't think about it.
Automatically turn on the spigots or you put your hands underneath there and there's the water.
We don't think about it until something like this happens. And so now you have to really think about going forward. How do we go ahead and change out some of these pipes and upgrade our water system in these cities without it costing an arm and a leg?
Sexy topic politically that you're ever going to talk about. The least sexy, because nobody wants to talk about, not having the ability to drink water, to bathe yourself or whatever it is, to relieve yourself. It's so not sexy, but
there's no easy access to the pipes. Why aren't there easy? It's not easy. You have to literally
so this is the thing. One of the pipes that burst, the handle to turn off the water was underneath the pipe. Some genius said, "Oh yeah, we'll get to that. We'll change it at some point." They were probably fired, and they said, "Well, no better for them," and they left it just like that. And then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, the city of Chicago paved over a lot of the water runoffs in mostly Black communities. So when people's homes flood, when the streets flood, there's no place for the water to go. And I'm sure you're all wondering, why would the city pave over the water runoffs? That is the question. That is indeed
because it was affecting Black folks, and they didn't care.
And they didn't give a damn.
Yeah, I mean, they wanted our homes to flood so that the prices of our homes could be devalued, so that we would leave, so that people could buy up our homes. Yes. Yeah,
and it'll be good for everyone.
Yes, water stuff is definitely the new political war. The only question that I have is, where is Pete Buttigieg in all of this?
And urban development too. I don't know that they have called in for. They have made a replacement for Marshall Fudge, who was the Secretary of HUD, because that is a significant part of it too. Pete Buttigieg was there on the scene in Baltimore. I don't know, Med, has he come to Atlanta yet?
Well, in my opinion, I think what you're saying is correct. It's HUD that is more so than Pete. Pete really doesn't have anything to do with the water.
Well, certainly, as a transportation secretary, when you have people like the airport and things like that.
That's true.
He's been flexing between transportation and infrastructure lately.
Pete's out here just like, so you're gonna put everything on me, huh?
Hey, what about her? She's not doing anything. Yeah.
Want to be famous?
Pete's like, damn, man, it affected the airport. Go ahead, Pete. You got this. Pete ain't been down here. You ain't been down here.
It's all on whoever is the next person to come in.
Pipes that are over 100 years old, we're dependent on them. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's scary. But that's the reality. And so not a question, but certainly a discussion that needs to be had, and perhaps and it may not be in this election, but certainly it should be when you're considering who you're voting for. All the members of the United States Congress are up for election or re-election, as well as a third of the United States Senate, and then of course the president and the vice president.
Yeah,
Those are
the
questions that have
buzzword.
to be asked.
Yeah, the buzzword that you want to listen for as voters is climate resiliency infrastructure and climate resistant infrastructure. Those are the buzzwords that you want to listen for. If someone spouts that out, you're like, oh, okay, that person read like 2 pages of some journal or something.
And when you hear that and say, I don't want to hear the buzzwords. I want you to talk about what's the problem with my pipes.
And right. Again, the last couple stories we've talked about, from Dalton, Illinois to Atlanta, Georgia, it really again shows the importance of local voting.
Yeah.
Local voting is very important. If you're in the Atlanta area, you know that runoffs are happening. Just want to throw that out there. Runoffs are happening,
and it's real.
It's real out here in these streets.
And we wish you all a lot of good luck there in the A, because it's not.
Boy, this water main break happened at the wrong time for these runoffs.
Okay. Man. So another thing whose timeliness was not favored today, AT&T and Verizon customers have been hit with a nationwide outage, leaving a lot of people unable to make 911 calls today. At least 24 states experiencing problems that were plaguing thousands of Americans from North Dakota to Illinois and on to New York. Down Detector, a site that monitors online outages, shows disruptions occurred around 12:25 Eastern time, but skyrocketed about 4 hours later. Customers have also reported drop calls, no internet connection, and an inability to hear the person on the other end of the line. That's me every day with my AT&T phone. I don't know why today would be any different for me. This is the second major cellular outage for the year, amid growing warnings that hackers are targeting U.S. infrastructure.
Yeah, funny you mentioned that. I don't know if anyone watched the Dr. Fauci debacle, but one of the very key insights that that we actually could learn from was that Dr. Fauci mentioned that he had to travel abroad because the United States infrastructure did not allow him to track what the virus was doing in real time, because a lot of government computers are still operating off of 20-year-old operating systems.
Archaic, yeah.
They're operating off of Windows 2000, and Microsoft stopped supporting Windows 2000 several years ago, which leaves it very vulnerable to attack. And I was like, wow, really?
This is why this is why I have an issue with like just the way Congress is set up right now. I know there's a lot of upcoming young congressmen and things like that, but it's just like when we talk about certain issues that we have in this country, I feel we keep ignoring the big ones. We keep hiding it behind propaganda that we put out there about race and things like that. Of course, the race things are important, but the way that our politicians are using it, it's blocking the main issues. Like I said, we're talking about wars and things like that. No, I'm worried about hackers. You know what I'm saying? Hacking our infrastructure, hacking our systems here in this country. I'm worried about a lot of other things than what you guys are talking about. And it's like, because of the age of people that are in charge, they're not looking at it like that, because they're not thinking about it like that.
Yeah.
I don't care how many aides they have that are young, they're not listening to them, and they're letting things pass them by because they're not paying attention. They're still stuck in the 70s.
Yeah, just like very brief teaching moment. That was out of the Nixon playbook, where Ronald Reagan and like the Nixon era, they wanted to switch just like right-wing policy from just like very divisive social issues, just so that they can just like distract the public while they just scheme and connive in the back and just get all of their sneaky like economic agendas through. So that's just like age-old like a Nixon tactics 101.
And a lot of that was seen yesterday during the Fauci hearings, when they weren't talking about how not only the extent of the pandemic, but how to avoid the next one, or how to deal with the next one. It may not be an avoidance, but how to deal with the next one that is for sure coming. And what they did was spend a lot of time just letting these ridiculous congressmen and women, especially from Georgia, uh,
MPG.
get out there and just make a complete ass of themselves because of the things that they wanted to, whatever they were trying to get across, and whatever point they were making to their constituents, which had nothing to do,
Yeah, which they had no points.
none.
I can tell you this: if you want to have a conspiracy theory, spin this. That the next pandemic is going to be worse than this one because we are all desensitized
Right.
to what had happened. Because right now, what it looks like was that there was never a problem. There was never an issue. We should just let things be the way they were, and it's going to be impossible.
And the
I
effects
mean,
of this are going to be so much greater, and more people are going to die because of the fact that, oh, I'm sending my kid to school. Oh, we don't have to socially distance. It wasn't necessary then before because nobody really told us where that came from. He just kind of grabbed it out of the air. And that's what they were trying to spin yesterday. And as a result of their kind of lackadaisical response to this and still being ticked off, but not the fact that the man who was in the White House at the time let 1 million people die.
Yes.
And they want to blame it on somebody. And so
Yeah.
it's Dr. Fauci. They've been trying to blame everything on Dr. Fauci since the thing started. Like the man created the virus himself.
Yeah. But he also helped us in the fight against this disease in terms of and you may want to give Donald Trump some credit for this in the discovery and the makeup of the vaccine. But also Dr. Fauci been in this business 800 years. He also helped with the HIV and AIDS epidemic. So he knows where the sticks, and he's probably saved the lives of some of these people's, children or some family relative or a close friend. But they don't want to hear that. They had an agenda and they just wanted to get.
They went after it.
Yeah. So that's AT&T and Verizon. User reports about Verizon's outage, largely concentrated in the Northeast, including New York, Boston, also Chicago, Detroit, and Seattle appear to be affected. AT&T was more spread out today with their outages, with issues in Tampa, Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles, and Phoenix.
Now that I think about it, I did have some trouble the other day, and I was like, "What? I have 5 bars. What's going on?" Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's time to sue them. I feel like this happened like 3 months ago.
Well, sure, yeah.
Time to sue.
But we're
the American way.
It is the American way. You're right, but it is also it's they all they want to do is to have a lawsuit and still not do the job that we are paying them to do and paying ridiculous amounts of money to do.
I want my $5 check from the lawsuit, baby.
That's a gospel whopper.
Coy Malone talked about this story last week, and this was the horrific story of a young black man, Senior Airman Roger Fortson, who was shot and killed by a Florida deputy. He was in his own apartment. The deputy said that he was called because someone said that there was a domestic situation going on. Mr. Fortman, Airman Fortman, was in his own apartment talking to his girlfriend on FaceTime, and they knocked on the door, and he went to see who it was. But he's a serviceman, so he took his revolver, which he is licensed to carry, and he had it down by his side. He opened the door, and before he could say anything, before the policeman even said anything, because the video shows this, he immediately took to shooting Fortman 6 times, I believe, and then told him, "Don't shoot. I'm a policeman." Well, he's been terminated, but his mother yesterday gave a heartfelt speech regarding this, and she said that disciplinary action such as firing him is nothing. It's not enough. She wants justice for her child. You're not going to throw me a bone. Take his credentials, take his pension. And that is the one thing everybody says, that no matter what you do to these cats, these men and women who are out there killing our children, if you take away their pensions, that's going to hurt them in a way that nothing else can. You can put them in the pokey and put them off to the side or whatever, or whatever prison you want to. But taking away their money and their ability to make a living or to get a living from their police pension. That makes a big difference. She said, bring up charges against him. He thought he wasn't going to make it home to his family. Guess what? This one didn't, pointing to a photo of her son.
And I believe the facts of the case are beginning to show that the deputy was he had approached the wrong home. He was called to the building,
right,
the apartment complex, but he ended up approaching the wrong home. And though eyewitness accounts claim that he identified himself as a deputy of the law twice. And this is why I would like to just talk about, because a lot of more Black people are buying guns. A lot of Black people are like owning guns now, and like the rules of engagement change. But as a gun owner and as a military veteran, you have the right to carry your sidearm in your home.
In your home.
Especially with the maneuvers that the police use is not to be seen.
Right.
Like, so if you're looking through the peephole,
yeah, and they're like
they're tucked to the side.
Yeah, and so, that's what they said.
So you don't
look outside and he couldn't see anything.
I don't see anything. So now I'm like, okay, y'all playing. You know what I'm saying? So now he really got his gun just in case, because he doesn't know what's going on outside. You open the door, there they are. Now I'm one of those people where I try to kind of look at everything. And do I understand the situation? Could they have said, put the gun down? Da, 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 da. Yeah, I've seen videos, white, black. The minute they see a gun, it's not put the gun down. They're shooting to kill.
It's
you know what I'm saying? Because everything is just like, he literally has a gun in his hand, shoot him. And I'm just like, is there a better way? Is there a better way for police to try and enter a home? Because if it's a dangerous situation, it's so many different things, man. It's so many different things and so many different ways of hopefully you can try to, minimize the situation. Because if there actually was a problem going on in the house, then the police were needed. They went to the wrong place.
Right.
What happens there? Going to jail. Like, how does that work? When you feel like you're sending somebody to a situation, the police to a situation that there needs help, but they end up at the wrong place. It is a lot to break down when it comes to that. And I'm not so quick to say this man needs to be in jail for what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna be the one that's gonna be quick to say that, because if he did go to the wrong place, then it's on him. And the way
but who instructed him to go to the wrong place? I mean, that's what I'm thinking also.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But there should be protocol if you make a mistake in terms of going to the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know, but you have to assume that you maybe that happens. Just like Amber Geiger went to an apartment and thought it was her own, and she killed both of them, John, in downtown Dallas, because she thought there was somebody sitting in her apartment watching TV and eating ice cream.
Mm. That's a little bit of bullshit. I really see. I know. I see. I get it, but it's just like that one. I feel like that one was goddamn different.
Yeah.
I was like, that was oh boy.
But but in these times, like you say, Matt, you can't go, my bad.
I know, yes. Man, I know, and it's like, and the question that I always have to ask myself is like, what is a fair punishment for a situation like that where it is, oh shit, my bad. Excuse me.
No, that is an old moment. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. Get well wishes to NBA Hall of Famer Alonzo Mourning. He revealed to ESPN that he underwent surgery this spring to remove his prostate after a diagnosis of stage 3 prostate cancer. Additional testing revealed that the cancer had not spread beyond the prostate, and his mid-March procedure left him cancer-free. The 7-time All-Star, NBA champion, and Olympic gold medalist described how routine prostate cancer screening played an enormous role in the discovery and treatment of a cancer form that kills 1 in 44 men in the United States, according to the American Cancer Society. And he's 54 years old. He's determined to be an advocate for at-risk men, 45 years and older, to get their regular PSA, that's the prostate-specific antigen blood test, to monitor. You don't have to go through the glove and finger, the digital exam. The first place to start is a blood test.
Wait a minute, what?
Sorry, man.
Wait, hold on, man. There was another way.
There was
My last
another
physical
way.
got very physical. What are we talking about, Mr.
Yeah,
Dibble?
There was another way.
I know y'all are dating now, but there was another way to get the information.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is new to me. But to Zoe
Yeah.
been through a lot, man.
Yeah.
Zoe, medically, he had cancer while he was playing.
Right.
Or I don't know, was it cancer or was it not what was it?
He did have a health scare.
He had a health issue and he dealt with that, came back after beating it, played some more, and for him to have cancer, I learned that once you have cancer, it's not just you beat cancer. There's some things that like they kind of stick around in your body that affects you for life. It was kidney. Thank you, Charlie. His kidneys were. I
thought that was Sean Elliott that had the kid. Well, maybe it happened to both of them.
Sean too. But I guess after you have issues like that, it's no clean bill of health. You deal with things after that like almost like forever.
Yeah.
So it's I'm just glad he's okay and he caught it.
Yeah, absolutely. There are said to be 3.3 million men living in the U.S. with prostate cancer and don't know it. And he said that he was one of those guys, and he's going to do everything he can to make sure that these 3.3 million men are doing the right thing and getting their prostates checked.
Glad he's advocating.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And talking about it in this way is a subject that is so sensitive to men, unlike any other health challenge I've ever seen men address.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it myself. I mean, I get it, but like I don't get it myself, but I get it. That's just the best that I could say about it. Just
your time is coming, sir. Your time is coming.
Okay.
Your time.
And before you know it, it'll be time for the doctor who'll say, have you had your, and you'll say,
strap up, let's go.
Let's go. Hey, Sybil just told me there was another option, like after and I gave her details of what happened.
We were on the phone and
he was with her right afterwards. I don't know why Sybil wasn't the first person I called. I'm like,
he was like curled up in a corner, I don't believe
you ain't gonna believe what just happened to me.
I am sorry that Damon is missing out on all of this conversation today. Let us move to entertainment. I know Damon is a water guy. Are you all in either one of you a fisherman?
No.
I like to fish. Yeah.
Okay.
I ain't got the patience.
You're not?
I don't have the patience to just sit there and wait
and be quiet.
At all. So we're just gonna sit here, be quiet, and and stuff. I'm good.
Sitting on the dock in the bay.
No? Right.
And me and my thoughts. Not a good idea.
I fished once in my life when I moved to Southwest Florida, my first radio job, and we went on a fishing excursion with some of my radio cohorts, and I caught one fish. They told me it was a hog lip snapper, and that's the last time that I have ever been. But are you all hip to magnet fishing?
No. What is that? Don't tell me they put the magnets in the water and they let the fish eat it and then they throw magnets.
No, it's not for the fish. So this is the entertainment portion of the show. Magnet fishing is they have these super charged magnets. You put them on your pole and you put your pole in the water and the magnet goes down. And then it, you just kind of, let it kind of guide over the water and it grabs onto things, right? And sometimes you find some really cool stuff. You can find, they said they find a lot of knives and sometimes they find guns. Sometimes they discover parts of cars and things like that. Well, check out this story. This is a couple in New York. And they do this as a rule. His name is James Kane and she's Barbie Agostini. And they visited Flushing Meadows Corona Park in Queens, New York last Friday, tossing their rope fishing line with a powerful magnet on the end into a stream. And they pulled out a safe. Like where they put money. And
What was in the safe?
This wasn't their first time pulling out a safe, but it was the first time they pulled out a safe that had an estimated $100,000 in it.
That's a good grab. That's a good day of work right there.
But there's a catch to this. They document all of their finds on social media so people can see they've done this before and they know what to do. They found hundreds of drenched $100 bills estimated to be worth $100,000. Opening it, they found the water damaged $100 bills. Damaged so much so that they can't even really touch it because it kind of falls apart, it disintegrates. So they're going to take all of this money to the Treasury Department in Washington, D.C. You know, they're going to load up the truck and move to Treasury and hopefully get some fresh hunts for their troubles.
They're going to try and
the police said that it was so the money was so erased and what have you, that they weren't able to ascribe it to any kind of criminal act or anything. They didn't have numbers on most of the bills. They didn't have, you know, that sometimes they'll wrap it in and they'll indicate what bank it came from or something like that. No, none of that.
They're about to get $5 from the Treasury.
Yeah. The finder's fee. Thanks.
So they said the money would deteriorate more with touching. And so they're taking the crumbling money to the Treasury Department in D.C. They believe they can be reconstructed. Someone told them this. And
$100,000, yeah.
Yeah. They said they have found guns, a grenade, a full-size motorcycle, and a lot of drones.
You know what? When I fish with a hook, I found a shoe. Found a shoe once.
Nice.
I've never caught a fish.
Was
I've
it
always
a
caught
Bruno
other
Molly
things.
that they're still looking for in the OJ case?
Right.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. I wish them luck. It would be nice if they, so what's the worst? They gave him 50 cents on the dollar.
You're right.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can get some money out of that. I hope that they can flip it out.
Yeah, come on.
Lake Lanier, who no? You'll find a whole bunch of stuff down there.
And
the whole city.
When you think about where we're from in Chicago with the whole gangland stuff, in Wisconsin, Indiana, and
Lake Michigan, boy, go ahead and drop a magnet down there and see what you get.
Right. You're gonna come up with a lot of guys named Shorty and Bruno in their cars. Yeah. Let's close out with the Jewel gentleman. Today's Yogi's Jewel: embracing the art of letting things play out can lead to unexpected and delightful surprises.
Absolutely.
Letting things play out is the theme of the week. All right, so we let this play out. Thank you all for playing along. We appreciate it. Khameron, have a good week. Stay away from the young baristas. And Med, may your water continue to flow.
Yeah. Tasha Smith on Friday talking about Martin Lawrence on the Morning Hustle.
She's in Bad Boys?
Yes, she's in Bad Boys.
Oh,
she plays Martin's wife. She said she kissed him and she asked if she could put his tongue down his throat, and he said yes. So yes, we'll be talking about that this Friday.
Okay, well, that's must hear radio.
She's great.
She really is. She's a brilliant director too. Really
yes, very much so.
Woman. Very nice woman. Congratulations on that. Then a good get. And did she come in or did you?
We made it work. She came in. She couldn't use the bathroom, but she came in.
Oh, nice. She is accommodating. Okay.
Very much so.
All right. Cool. Well, good on you. All right, Khameron, have a good week. Med, have a good week. Everyone, thank you so much. And see you next time. Aloha.